Good afternoon, friends of ancient Greece. Lately there has been like maybe 1,000 videos with criticisms about the Christopher Nolan Odyssey interpretation from what has been shown in the two trailers. I have seen maybe all of those videos, and I have, after careful consideration, come to the conclusion that the criticisms are mostly the same. What do I think about the points these people are making? Well, you already know what they are saying, like the casting choices are wrong, the aesthetics of the movie is wrong, all of these different types of historical inaccuracies make the movie bad, the actors are like Hollywood superstars and make everything seem like a superhero movie and so on. What do I think about all this? Well, I won't go into that actually, because this video I will instead try to focus on some less discussed points. Let me put it this way. I think from what I've seen in all these videos that if every single one of these problems still existed, but I got some other stuff from the movie, I would still think it was an amazing movie. And in the opposite way, if all of these problems went away with the Odyssey movie, I would still think that my criticisms would be valid. Okay, so what would I like to comment on? Well, mainly thematics. Maybe I'll say some short things about style also, but I think the theme of the Odyssey poem has been overlooked somewhat in the discussion regarding the Nolan movie. I think theme is something that should survive adaptation, because I think theme are like the most central aspects of a text. I care less for the historical accuracy and so on. For example, I know many works where the feel is different, but the heart of the work of art is the same. Like the Kurosawa movies, of course, with like Dostoevsky and Shakespeare, and I would like to comment on some of the themes in the Odyssey. I read the Odyssey last summer. I thought it was very good. I read it during the early mornings and later in the afternoons on my 1-hour bus trips to my job that I had last summer, working in a warehouse. So I think I got a different sort of feeling from it also. I know it's like a magical word to most, but to me it was something almost meditative about reading the Odyssey while traveling all day, in a sense like Odysseus did. I did read the Odyssey and I did like it very much, although I think I liked it even more after I have read it, in contrast to the Iliad, which I did enjoy very much reading. That was the summer before, I think. I read the Iliad. I remember being at my grandparents' house in the summer, in outdoor I don't know what it's called in English, hanging mat, lying there reading the Iliad, which is partly about war, of course, and listening to Black Sabbath, which is like epic metal, and lying there in the shade. It was also a very good experience, but I think the verse itself in the Iliad I did enjoy more, and it's more action-packed and a little more straightforward, both regarding the story and the theme. It's quite obvious, and it translates somewhat better than the Odyssey, or more easily so than the Odyssey, I think, because of the theme being a little more open or obvious. The first line of Sing of the Rage of Achilles, and then Achilles, for different reasons, coming to terms with his rage or ending his rage towards the end, and maybe getting a different perspective on things after his discussion with Priamos, Hector's dad. I think that is translated in a good way in the movie Troy. Obviously people have a lot of criticisms about the movie Troy as well, mainly about the gods being not present, which I think they will be. They will be a part of Nolan's Odyssey, like Zendaya will play Athena, I think, and so on. But I don't actually mind that in the Iliad. As I said, regarding the thematics, or the main theme about the Iliad, I think it works perfectly well as if, and the historical inaccuracies that are present in the Iliad movie interpretation in Troy are like not that important, and I know it's like pumped up to be like a Hollywood blockbuster, but really I think to some extent they even underplayed like the battle scenes in it. I remember being quite surprised after reading the Iliad how graphically horrible it was, like them riding around in their war carriages, and blood going up like fountains around the wheels, I remember reading, and power balls everywhere, and everything being alive and dying, and the soldiers being described poetically as wild beasts all the time, and also some kind of weird sadistic thing that Homer did in the Iliad, where he describes a person like a Trojan or something in great detail about who this guy is, what is his lineage, what people are in his family, what are his aspirations, where did he come from, and so on. And then after that he just like says, and then he got murdered in this and this way. Like you learn about people only to see them immediately get like graphically destroyed by violence, and I think that was somewhat missed in the movie. But I must go back to the point I was making. I don't think that Troy is a bad movie, and I think that it is easier to find what is most important in the Iliad than in the Odyssey, and that is part of the problem that I think will be apparent in the Odyssey movie interpretation by Nolan, that the theme or themes are somewhat lost, and that we will instead get this like big Hollywood blockbuster feel that pumps up what modern audiences would like to see most from any movie, so it will feel less like the Odyssey. Like in contrast to the Iliad, where even though it is like a big Hollywood blockbuster, the feeling of the Iliad is still left intact. It isn't the Hollywood aspect of it doesn't take that away. Okay, so enough intro. Let's get to some themes about the Odyssey. Well, first off, I think one of the themes that arises only after you have read the Odyssey and is not nearly as present when you're reading it is the comparison between Odysseus and Agamemnon. All people in ancient Greece who heard the Odyssey already knew of the story of Agamemnon, of course. It was all like a big Marvel universe or something, like all stars intertwined. But if you just read the Odyssey, you will know about the story of Agamemnon and Odysseus in parts at the time. It is hinted about Agamemnon in the beginning, in the chapters where only Telemachus is present, but then it will be more concretely showed when Odysseus descends to the underworld and meets Agamemnon. Agamemnon is of course the leader of the different kingdoms of Achaia and leads the expedition to Troy. And when he comes home, his wife Clytemnestra has taken a lover, Isiklos, and they sneak up on him and kill him when he gets home. And this he tells Odysseus. And they also give some quite misogyn messages. He condemns not only his wife but also all women, and he perceives them as treacherous and lying and mischievous and so on. And he actually warns Odysseus that when you go home, be a bit careful. Like, I know Penelope is a great woman, but be careful just in case, because women are so mischievous. And later, of course, Odysseus will be careful. He will be disguised when entering his home, and the big difference, of course, is that Penelope hasn't taken a lover or a new husband. She has stayed loyal to Odysseus for all the 20 years he has been absent, and she has believed that he will return home. And she has been punished by her sorrow. Many times in the story it is said that she's only released from her pain when Athena grants her sleep, so she can forget. Okay, so what is this comparison? Well, it's a sort of reversed expectation, or like a making up for the mistakes that Agamemnon did. Odysseus is he's I don't know how I should put it. He is saved because he is careful, but not in the same way that Agamemnon would. And it is something in his character that make him be able to evade the dangers that Agamemnon has. I digress. Maybe I will go back on commenting more on this theme later. Something else. Okay, I said before that the first line of the Iliad discloses the theme, or the most important thing in the theme. Now I will read my direct translation about of the first line in the Odyssey, because I don't have an English version at home. Muse sing about that man who, when he had destroyed Troy, for a long time wandered the oceans and got into all sorts of situations. This is the feeling of the Odyssey, the feeling of being in many situations. I have listened to a podcast with Hubert Dreyfus, I don't know how to pronounce it, the guy writing All Things Shining, and he comments on this like it's a mode of being like Odysseus, compared to other Greeks who are fully in their own mode, being a warrior, or being a father, or being a person who is evil or is good, or fitting a role. But the main thing about Odysseus is that he isn't really easy to grasp. You see more of his lying nature than his true nature, and to some extent his lying nature is his true nature. He changes like chameleon, and he takes many forms depending on where he is. It's like he's traveling to all these different, not only islands, but different worlds or ways of being, and he navigates them by imitation or understanding and lying. Basically, he lies a lot. He lies even when back home at Ithaca by dressing up as a beggar and tricking people and making up false stories about who he is, and so on. I saw that there is even a theory about the whole, like the main part of the Odyssey being a lie from Odysseus, because of course it isn't the story isn't told chronologically. It is told that from the start Odysseus is trapped with let me see if I remember her name, the other witch, not Circe, but it's the same name of the woman in Pirates of the Caribbean. One second. Calypso is the name of that goddess, half goddess or witch, and he escapes from her and is rescued, one could say, by the Laestrygonians after he has been shipwrecked once more. And the main part of the Odyssey, the ones that people know about, like the Cyclops and the Sirens and the Underworld and so on, that is just things he retells to them. So the theory is that these things are quite extraordinary, and it's weird that Odysseus is the only survivor, and that he manages to navigate all these dangers so well, that maybe these stories he tells the Laestrygonians with the Lotus Eater. Sorry, I'm mixing things up. The Phaiakis, I don't know what you call it in English. Maybe that is all lies, or like not really the full story. So yeah, Odysseus do lie a lot, and that should be portrayed. It's not really seen as people today see everything through these the moral lens, which I think is present from the time of classical Greece, but this is just before that, in the time of archaic Greece, before the drama was invented, and before the morals regarding the polis and unity was created. So yeah, I think to capture the essence of the Odyssey, you have to show Odysseus not as a upstanding moral citizen, more like a hero in the sense of him being a successor, or a succeeding man, I mean, and a liar. Another theme that I would like the movie to focus on is the revenge. I think this will not be a problem in the movie, because that is a quite common theme these days, or still. I think there will be some karkasis, I don't know how to say that. It will be some kind of relief when Odysseus and perhaps even more Telemachus kills the suitors, because we will go from being the underdog that is mistreated to having his revenge. Okay. Another theme that I like the movie to contain is the problem with winning, which I see the Odyssey and the story of Agamemnon as being a comment on. The Iliad isn't even really about the Trojan War as is, because it's mostly about the rage of Achilles and coming to terms with that and so on. But if you see the Trojan War as the Trojan War itself, and not only the Iliad, but also other missing pieces of the Trojan cycle, the Trojan War is a huge success. It's the biggest expedition ever, and everything is organized well, and it's a long battle between even parts, and by the end the Trojans are tricked by Odysseus' smart plan with the Trojan horse and so on, and all of these great warriors of Troy are defeated. Besides like Aenid, who escapes, and Helen of Troy is brought home. Okay, the Greeks won. That is the main story about the Trojan War, and people feel glorious about that for all time after that. But the Odyssey, both in the story of Agamemnon and Odysseus, and also some of the other heroes that we know from the Iliad, like Ajax and others, are that of trouble. The winning of the War of Troy isn't like the end of their troubles, and they can even have created some more trouble from them. For Odysseus, it's quite obvious he's lost at sea because he's trying to travel back. He's lost at sea for 10 years, and every man in his crew dies horribly, and he's put to many tests, and he's almost killed a couple of times, and so on. And his house is being invaded by suitors. So it's a big tragedy, the Odyssey, of course, for Odysseus, even though they won. And for Agamemnon, it's quite obvious he goes back to his home and is killed, and that happens only because he left, both because Clytemnestra is trying to put revenge on him for sacrificing their daughter to Artemis, but also because she has taken a new man. And Ajax, the lesser or the greater, don't remember who, is killed in a ship wreck. He dies, and that is also on the team with Odysseus. And even Menelaus, who manages to return to his home safe and do not get killed or find his house savaged by someone when he comes home. Even for him and Queen Helen, not everything is great when Telemachus visits them. They are on drugs, both of them, actually. Some weird spice from Egypt or something that make them forget. That is the written out use for the drug. They want to forget, and it's like a weird feeling when you get there. I think there's a big debate on why doesn't the Greeks and Homer perceive Helen as an evil woman because she ran off with Paris and was unfaithful. And I think that has some interesting answers, but even though one doesn't see her as evil, but merely being a slave for her own lusts, everything can't go back to normal once they get home. So I think that is much more interesting actually than the Trojan War itself. Like, it's a war like every other war to some extent, and one side is stronger and wins, and it just happens to be the side that you as the reader perhaps would perceive as the more moral side. But the Odyssey is about how winning doesn't always solve everything, and sometimes it creates more problems, and that is echoed in the end of the Odyssey itself, when once again Odysseus actually wins. He and Telemachus and the swine farmers manages to kill all of the, like, what is it, 90 suitors or something, and they are successful, and Penelope recognizes Odysseus again, and as a final mission of winning or enjoying the fruits of your labor, he goes out to the mansion to meet his father, Laertes, who is still alive. He met his mother in the underworld, Anticleia, and she told him that Laertes had taken refuge there. So he goes out to his father, and after some different stuff happening and some tears being shedded, they and Telemachus and the others are attacked, actually, by the fathers of all the suitors, who want revenge for the murder of their sons. And Homer writes that Odysseus eagerly want to fight, and Laertes actually throws the first spear or something, but the winning against the suitors was quite a stretch already. I think they had some things going for them, Odysseus and the rest. They had disposed of some of the weapons that the suitors had, and they had the help of Athena and the moment of surprise and so on, and they were in a tight quarter, so they couldn't be surrounded. But I think this is actually a real threat for them, and another way of showing that winning isn't so clean as you think, and Athena puts a stop to the fight. Actually, she says that enough blood has been spilled, and with the power of Zeus, she stops Odysseus, and she makes them come to terms with each other, which is really weird. And I have seen people write a lot about the ending of the Odyssey. It's like the whole thing with the suitors' dads coming to invade them, and like the drama was over like a few chapters ago already. It's when I think about it, it really is like the Lord of the Rings, actually, and the Lord of the Rings movies regarding the ending. In the Lord of the Rings, all the major drama plays out, and in the books and also in the movies, they have like many chapters. One of them even called like many goodbyes or something. All the drama turning down a bit, and then going home, and as a reader you think this will just like calmly set into place, and then they get home. But instead they see that Saruman and like some orcs or men or something, I don't remember, has taken over the Shire, and they must once again fight, and then they succeed again. It's like a final surprise or something. And of course that wasn't filmed in Peter Jackson's excellent movies. They thought the pacing of the drama will be a bit weird if they had another smaller obstacle to complete just before the ending and just after the big ending. And many people have thought this about the ending of the Odyssey itself. Many people have thought that maybe it isn't really the ending for the book, that there was another ending and then someone changed it to make the theme about like coming to terms with each other and how do you get away from blood revenge, basically. I will be interested to see what Nolan does with the end of the Odyssey. I would be surprised if it is like the ending of the book. But I think it would work regardless, like the Lord of the Rings does. But this is one theme that is deepened, or at least repeated by the ending. I think another example of a film with a similar theme is Shawshank Redemption, actually. Like the part when I don't remember any character's name, but when Morgan Freeman character is released from the prison after many years, and he tries to go back to being a normal citizen, but he can't, because the world has changed so much, and he has changed so much from being in prison, that he now is like a prison person, and it doesn't help by winning. He is still doomed. And the same thing could be said about the winning part and the traveling. I like that idea that sometimes the ocean is stronger than the human. It doesn't help to survive it. It still has infected you, or something, like the alien also. Yeah, I think that is my main ideas about theme. It's obviously other themes are like how you can be helped or hindered by gods or something, but I don't really have anything more to say on that. So we'll see how good the movie is, and hopefully people will be inspired to read Odyssey. Have a nice summer.